Welcome to this edition of the Wonderbury podcast.
I'm Brian.
I'm Dave.
And you can find us online at wonderbury.com.
I am D. Wonderly on Twitter.
And I'm Brian Keysbury, anywhere the internet can be found.
You can leave us a comment on our website. Check for the link in the description.
Yes.
It finally got cold, Brian. We've been waiting months for this, but it finally happened.
I'm going to Photoshop a fireplace into my living room later, I think.
I just turn on some sort of a fire image on my TV, and it seems to do absolutely nothing.
You feel like 10 degrees warmer in the general. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with that.
Yeah, it was 38 degrees and rain today. And there is nothing like a cold rain to chill you to your core.
Right? We've
But
had 10, I think we're up to 10 days of mostly rain here, which is about normal.
That's all right, because it is the beginning of the gray season.
Yep. And Grand Rapids is, per the Guinness World Book of Records, the cloudiest place on Earth.
That sucks.
Yeah,
No, thank you.
Last year, we set the record for, I think, 14 straight days without seeing any sun. Zero sun.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's getting cold. But that also means it's hockey season and my Kings are still doing good.
Yeah, your Dodgers keeping up with the Mets.
Astros,
whatever.
Game 3 is going on right now, and I don't know what So, Dodgers won Game 1, lost Game 2 in 12 innings.
Ooh.
The two teams scored a combined 7 points in extra innings, or 7 runs in extra innings. And I just looked at it right now, and the Astros won Game 3 5-3. So,
oh boy.
Yeah, Astros scored 4 in the second, 1 in the fifth. So my Dodgers are down 2-1 now. We have to win 1 in Houston. Kershaw should be back here shortly. He pitched Game 1, and so that one will probably end up taking, which will probably be the next, which will probably either be game. I would suppose it would be Game 4, because then they would have him for a Game 7. So we'll see how it goes. It's I don't know. Houston looks pretty well determined that they want to do something with this thing. So we'll see how it goes.
Well, I got some new insurance on my car. Finally, after the accident, got switched to State Farm. Which then I have a tendency to over-research things, so at the same time, I was also reading about a new service called Insure My Tesla.
I heard about that.
Yeah.
They did like a partnership with Liberty Mutual, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
I couldn't find any sort of like actual rate information. I wanted to find that so I wanted to do a comparison against different insurance providers.
Yeah.
Especially here in Michigan, where it doesn't matter because they don't allow Tesla dealerships anyways. And our insurance is awful. So
Yeah.
I wanted to do a comparison of rates and like actual coverage, but it wasn't able to find that information in a timely manner. So
Yeah,
I believed it was interesting though with Elon Musk. You know, he's coming out with safer cars.
Yes.
And the cars keep getting more and more safer, especially as more and more people are driving them, and the more and more of them that come out, and they all learn from each other, and then the extra safety features of them.
Yeah. Well, the National Traffic Safety Administration found that since the autopilot stuff was installed into Teslas, just that act alone dropped the accident rates from Teslas 40%.
Yeah.
That's not an substantial plummet. That is massive.
That's a lot.
And I know that a couple of insurance companies, and this was a couple years ago, they were talking about how the electric vehicles and these autopilots and self-driving vehicles is going to completely wreak havoc on the car insurance business models.
Yeah.
And it looks like Tesla just happened to step up to cover that gap to show them how out of date they are with it.
Yeah. That's awesome, because the way insurance is currently, especially here in Michigan, is it's just a friggin' scam. And it doesn't...
Well, yeah.
It isn't made to help anybody. Whereas what he's actually doing is helping people and then still covering the basis of the laws. Yeah.
The insurance isn't necessarily a scam. A lot of insurance companies are a scam. With insurance, especially auto insurance, you get what you pay for. Yeah. And a lot of times, the online ones, they just take in money and the clauses are just horrible. Yeah, no, call them out. Esurance. I've heard problems and issues with the General.
Yes.
And these companies, it's the cut rate bottom barrel. They give you a very, very cheap price, but they can afford to do that because they don't actually shell out anything when you need it.
Yep. Like here, we totaled a vehicle and I had a few $1,000s worth of equipment in the trunk. We walked away with $1,000.
Yeah.
For everything.
For a total car and thousands of dollars of stuff in the vehicle in something that wasn't even your fault.
Yes.
But Michigan is a no-fault state, so even though you got rear-ended...
It was also the guy that was probably texting and driving and hit us going 90 miles an hour while we were stopped. Wasn't his fault.
Yeah.
Wasn't his fault that he smashed the back of my car, spun us around, we hit another vehicle, he hit another vehicle. Wasn't his fault.
Yeah. That is unbelievable to me, and I always hold my breath every time I drive through Michigan, because it's scary.
That's the part where it's a scam here. That's why I always call Michigan out specifically, because I think they're the only state that has NoFault Insurance. But I did see that they are working to change that, mostly because it sucks awful and it hurts everybody.
But actually there are 12 states that have no-fault auto insurance laws. Florida, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, Hawaii, Kansas, Kentucky, Massachusetts, Minnesota, North Dakota, and Utah.
Man, I want to go back to Ohio.
How does New York State not have their no-fault insurance state? That's just... But then again, Michigan isn't known for its high marks for protecting the citizens and the consumer. I mean, they're the ones right now that's pushing through that law that would outlaw cities having their own broadband services that they roll out.
Yeah. I mean, there's already some states that have that law too, but Michigan's trying to hurry theirs through.
Michigan is pushing it hard.
Yep.
I mean, what kind of anti-competitive BS is that?
Right?
Anyway, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. Back to Tesla. This insurance.
People trying to fight socialism when is what that's how that turns to me.
They selectively fight socialism.
Yeah.
Because the moment you ask them when they're planning on abolishing police and fire services, they balk at you.
Yeah.
So,
road services, road repair.
Yeah.
There you go.
Off the political tangents.
Yep. So back to Tesla.
Back to Tesla.
My favorite guy. He's
with Musk?
Yeah.
He's a modern day or he's an actual real life Tony Stark, it seems like.
Right?
He had said something
promised Puerto Rico he'd help rebuild. And making good on it.
Yeah, it seems to be. I haven't looked up anything recently, but I've noticed that they've been rolling out stuff with Puerto Rico.
Yep. He got a major hospital all powered back up. Completely self-reliant on their own system.
Yep.
And they said there was a lot of others that they were very ready to turn on. I don't know what that means, if they're like everything's plugged in, they're just like testing circuits or what, but
he's starting at the hospitals and moving on from there, which is good.
Yeah.
But man, the fact that Puerto Rico is still struggling as bad as it is just
right?
It's sad. Well, something else that popped up is that Alphabet, which is Google's parent company now, in case they've deployed out Project Loon in partnership with, I think, AT&T over Puerto Rico. So Project Loon is those giant balloons that go up in kind of the stratosphere. Is it the stratosphere?
I don't remember.
I'm scanning it. Give me a second. Anyway, so they go up there and they're pretty much just pumping LTE from balloons that are up in the air. Yeah. And they've used them several times before, and now the FCC gave them the green light because 83% of cell towers were still down across Puerto Rico.
Yep. We have Google and Tesla over there rebuilding everything from the ground up, or the air down. I guess.
Well, it depends. Depends on how you look at it, because it's just it's a wonderful testament to see what, especially to anyone that says, well, these things aren't sustainable. Well, we're about to find out.
Yeah.
I mean, we already know because of Europe how sustainable a lot of this stuff is, especially solar. But, why not?
Doing it in our own country, per se.
Yeah. This is the first time that Loon has been used above U.S. soil. It's been used several times for emergency relief, including down in Peru. Was that a year or 2 years ago? The disaster relief in Peru. They used or Alphabet used Project Loon. But this is the first time that it's ever been deployed across U.S. soil, which is a very interesting thing to watch happen. It's kind of cool. We'll have to see how it all works.
I I'm also very happy that two of the companies that I support dearly are doing huge humanitarian things like that.
Yeah.
It makes me feel good knowing that the money that I give to them is actually going to a good purpose. Unlike with Comcast, who's, I give them $90 every month and it goes to make laws against other people creating internet services.
Well, at least, I guess I own a couple of SpaceX things, so I guess I do give money to Musk's company somehow. I can't afford a Tesla.
Not yet.
I found out that I couldn't afford a solar roof, unfortunately. Those are still a little more that, and I didn't have the footprint layout that would be very good for a solar roof at the moment.
Speaking of not affording Teslas, if you want to ride in one, go to our Patreon. It's patreon.com/Wonderbury. You can donate some money, and when we hit a certain mark, you're guaranteed a ride in our Tesla.
Yep. Although, Tesla Model 3 is a surprisingly affordable Tesla.
Yes.
Well, the base model with black paint is surprisingly affordable-ish.
Black cars are fine by me.
If you start adding options like the self-driving option and some of the other ones, that price jumps pretty quickly. However,
gotta have that. Gotta have that.
They start at $35,000, and Consumer Report actually gave them pretty high marks for the Model 3. It was kind of nice.
I'm not skimping on the auto driving feature. We're going all in. Yeah. If I want a Tesla, I want to just say, okay, Tesla, set course for my parents' house, engage, and then read a book, play some Minecraft, I don't know, whatever.
Back in April, Musk announced that Tesla was going to be doing pickup trucks and a semi-truck.
Yep.
And he had slated that he was going to reveal it a couple of months ago, but that's been delayed, etc., etc. But Daimler, the parent company of Mercedes.
Daimler
just
Fiat.
Announced.
Wait, no, they split.
eFuso Vision 1. It is a feasible all-electric heavy-duty truck. So they're releasing out an electric truck that would have 220 mile or 350 kilometer maximum range per charge.
Yeah.
So, it's exciting to see other car companies, especially well-established ones, starting to get on board. If the Tesla, for some reason or whatever, ends up not making it much further, and Musk turns his attention to Mars, the moon, and space things, there's one thing that no one will ever be able to take away from him, and that is, while he was not the first electric car company, he was the one that brought it to mainstream.
Yes.
And there's something to be said for that. Apple has the same prestige. They weren't the first one to make a smartphone or a smart device, but the iPhone is what brought it to the mainstream. It went from being the geeks and boardroom guys to the everyday man carrying a smartphone.
Yeah.
And there's something to be said for that. And it's been, what a time to be alive, though. But to see all these changes and to see these things coming, stuff that we were told for years we can't do that because it's impossible or not feasible. Well, now they're doing it. And with the quick charging systems that they're developing and new types of batteries that they're developing, to even just pulling up, paying $20, and 90 seconds later, you've got a battery swap out with a full one, and you're on your way again. Suddenly, that's not much of a laughing matter. It's faster than filling up your tank at a petrol station, and it's cheaper. And to me, you can either sit there for an hour and refresh your legs, recharge while you recharge, or if you're in a hurry, 90 seconds later, you're back on the road.
Yeah.
To me, when I hear people mock, well, you can only go, 250 miles. Okay, let's have a race. You can't refuel, and we're going 250 miles.
Yeah.
So now suddenly the car that has those small compact cars everybody likes to brag about, that has an effective range of 200 miles, they're not finishing. We for some reason, a lot of guys don't hold them to the same standard they hold traditional petrol vehicles. And I don't know, it irritates me.
That's another thing that Tesla's doing good, is they seem to keep slowly, like they have their own set range, and then all of a sudden something happens, and then now they flip a switch on a server somewhere, and it gives the car a little extra range. They did that in Florida during one of the insane amount of hurricanes they had. They said, "Hey, we know you guys are trying to leave the state in a hurry." They added like another 50 miles of range or something. I don't remember what the actual number was, but it was not. It was amazing, because they're like, you should only go this many, and then all of a sudden they're like, well, now you can go this many more.
Yeah. So
wish I could find those numbers.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of really awesome stuff going on, especially with Tesla and their battery systems that they're trying to work on and doing, and they've got that big project down in South Australia that's going to be just amazing.
Yeah, that'll be pretty massive.
Yeah.
I think that's going to help ramp up the Gigafactory a lot.
Yep. Yeah, it'll help wrap the gigs, but what it also does is it sets a bar. And suddenly, not only do other solar companies and clean energy companies have a bar to meet, but now that the proof is starting to become in the pudding for it all, traditional energy markets are now suddenly going to have to compete. And they're going to have a very, very hard time doing that and continuing to justify the costs or the damage done to either the environment or to everything around it to maintain what the cheaper, more efficient, and cleaner solution is.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty happy about that. I'm pretty excited that that's kind of the trending direction. And there's a small handful of companies, and Musk is one of the big leaders in that's going in that direction.
He's definitely mostly pushing things in the right direction.
Yeah.
Did just also recently have a bunch of firings. So I don't think there's any specific as to what was going on, but it looks like they went through and tried to fire union organizers.
Who did?
Tesla.
Tesla?
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a union?
Nope. Apparently not. Which was kind of strange because I figured they'd fall in with the UAW, but then I guess the UAW probably is not very happy about all of the jobs that Tesla's working on, reckon.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I have the feeling that it's not gonna matter. Like unionizing even in an industry like that that's been around forever isn't gonna matter much longer if they just automate everything.
Yeah, Tesla's doing something a little interesting, and that is they are bringing Silicon Valley systems to manufacturing and automotive,
Yep.
which is kind of difficult to do especially with the old set in their ways systems that everyone else is. Typically, I'm very, very pro-union, and that's almost okay. Well, let me back up a second. I am very pro what union is supposed to do. The problem is that unions have not maintained with the times, and so unions, what they're supposed to be doing and what unions' reality is are two totally different things. Now, I don't believe the solution is to eliminate unions. I think that will, especially in a corporate-first climate that we live in today, could be very, very dangerous for the workers to eliminate unions altogether.
Yeah.
I don't. You don't have to look any further than Walmart to realize what a bad idea that is.
Yeah.
And so there has to be a balance somewhere. But unions, especially very old unions, and not all of them, but a lot of them, have become very corrupt at their core. And the union's no longer about protecting workers. It's about protecting the union, the influence, and the money.
Yep.
And so
UAW being one of the best examples of that too.
Perfect example of that. And, I've known several UAW workers that are not corrupt and not horrible human beings. But even they have to begrudgingly nod and say, okay, I'll give you that the union in general, the UAW union in general, is bad.
Yeah.
It's just gotten bad.
And if you don't believe us, ask Jimmy Hoffa.
If you don't believe us, ask anyone that's worked in the automotive industry that is not necessarily UAW, but has had to work with UAW.
Yeah.
You'll learn real quickly what kind of an interesting dynamic that is. So, on one hand, that's one thing that me and Mr. Musk disagree on. But on the other hand, I understand his mentality and where he's coming from, and he's trying to bring in the Silicon Valley ethos into a very non-Silicon Valley-esque industry.
Yep. And he also appears to be doing a good job of treating his employees well from the get-go.
Well, for the most part. I've known some people that have worked over at SpaceX, and they say that they wouldn't give the job up for the world, but having a family and working at SpaceX is almost an impossibility.
Yeah.
The home work-life balance is non-existent when you're working for a company like that.
I mean, that's part of most positions in space programs. Like even the people that were in NASA, like a lot of long hours, a lot of, and I guess that's also kind of, there have been a couple of companies that have solved it or have made efforts to solve it, but the home work balance is very difficult to balance in any of the Silicon companies, the Silicon Valley companies. They're just, it's
it's very difficult to balance that all out so that, I don't know. It's an equation that's not black and white. There are various shades of gray, and yeah.
Yeah. See, I don't know.
Monday, there's going to be another SpaceX launch.
Woo.
So it's firing off on 39 Alpha, and they're still going to target I Still Love You drone ship out in the Atlantic. They did a test firing of the engines that passed Thursday afternoon.
Nice.
So launch Monday, that'll be somewhere between 3:30 and 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. They've got a 2-hour window. So
Man.
That's what's coming up in SpaceX. That'll be good.
Lost my card.
Lost the card. But yeah,
Like,
Musk, that's 2 weeks in a row of Elon Musk. And, I think I'm more excited about what they're doing with SpaceX, just being a space nerd, and what he's doing with Mars. And,
I'm kind of excited all around.
Yeah.
He's building infrastructure in Australia and Puerto Rico. Like making new safety. He's creating vehicles with software that are safer than any regulation you could imagine to put on any other auto, manufacturer.
Yeah.
Ford and Chevy, or Ford and GM and Chrysler, they've not come a long way. We have airbags and doors now. Well, his car can avoid collisions in the first place, and you don't even need them. So.
Well, looks like NASA...
he's going to Mars.
Yeah, and he's going to Mars, and it looks like NASA's returning to the moon, so...
Yes.
That was... There was something that just came out just recently, I remembered, and this was from last week, about NASA is starting to meet and put together an analysis group with a lot of different companies to kind of figure out the best process forward for landers and et cetera, et cetera.
Nice.
So I guess they're trying to get something ready for early 2020s to return humans to the moon again. So
Yay.
I don't know. I don't know the geopolitical reasons, if it's geopolitical, if it's what the reasons necessarily are. I know the reason, we went to the moon the first time was because we wanted to beat the Soviets in doing it, and we had lost every other race in space to the Soviets leading up to that point. So we got super ambitious, and we only got there first because they missed.
I like looking at that like the Olympics.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, America won the biggest show, the biggest game, but Russia won all of the others. We took home one big medal, but they took home 30 of them.
Well, it's almost like the same thing in, what was that, 86 when we beat the Soviet Union in hockey at the Olympics?
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize that wasn't the gold medal game. We got silver that year to a different country.
So
yeah, exciting things.
Yep. America.
Tech, space,
we win some, we lose
solar. Yeah, well.
some. We lose some more.
Alrighty, Brian.
All right.
That about wraps us up this week, though.
Leave us a comment somewhere about Tesla, Elon Musk. Let us know what you think. We'd like to hear your thoughts. Maybe we'll do another episode. Maybe we'll do like a 5th episode on Elon Musk. Well, I mean, we'll probably will eventually in the future. But tell us what you think. Well, if it's awesome, we'll bring you on.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, until next week, see you guys.